I never imagined I'd be in this situation, but here I am. My name is Maria, 42F, and I've been estranged from my daughter Audrey, 24F, for the past 6 years. The story of how we got here is long and complicated, filled with misunderstandings, hurt, and regret. Audrey was born when I was just 18. Her father, Aaron, 45M, and I were high school sweethearts. We thought we were ready for the responsibility of parenthood, but looking back, we were just kids ourselves. Despite the challenges, I threw myself into motherhood. I put my dreams of college on hold and worked part-time jobs to make ends meet while Aaron finished his degree. For the first few years, we were happy. Aaron got a good job after graduation, and I was able to stay home with Audrey. But as time went on, the cracks in our relationship started to show. Aaron became distant, working late hours and spending weekends with his friends. I felt isolated and overwhelmed, struggling to care for a toddler on my own. When Audrey was 5, I discovered Aaron had been having an affair with a coworker, Dakota, 40F. The betrayal was devastating. We tried counseling, but the trust was broken. After months of fighting and tears, we decided to divorce when Audrey was 7. The divorce was messy. Aaron fought for full custody, claiming I was unfit because I didn't have a college degree or a full-time job. I was furious. I had put my life on hold to raise our daughter while he built his career. In the end, we got joint custody, but the battle left deep scars. As Audrey grew older, things got more complicated. Aaron had married Dakota and they had a son together. Audrey would come home from her weekends with them talking about their big house, family vacations, and all the things her dad could provide that I couldn't. I tried not to let it bother me, but it was hard. To make matters worse, Aaron seemed to go out of his way to undermine me. He'd schedule fun activities during my custody time, making me the bad guy when I insisted Audrey stay with me. He'd buy her expensive gifts right before she came to my house, making my modest presence seem inadequate. Despite this, Audrey and I remained close through her early teens. We had our traditions, Friday night movies, Saturday morning pancakes, long talks about her dreams and fears. But as she entered high school, things began to change. Audrey started to pull away. She became moody and distant, spending more time on her phone than talking to me. When she was 16, I found out she had been skipping school. We had a huge fight about it, and she stormed out, calling her dad to pick her up. That was the beginning of the end. Audrey started spending more and more time at Aaron's house. She'd make excuses not to come for her scheduled visits with me. When she did come, she was sullen and argumentative. The final blow came when Audrey was 18. She announced she was moving in with Aaron and Dakota permanently. She said she needed space from me, that I was too controlling and didn't understand her. I was heartbroken. I tried to talk to her, to explain my side of things, but she wouldn't listen. For 6 years, I've tried to reach out. I've sent birthday cards, Christmas gifts, and countless text messages. I've left voicemails on holidays and random weekdays, just trying to maintain some connection. But Audrey remained silent. I've watched from afar as Audrey's life unfolded. I saw Facebook posts about her college graduation, her first job at a marketing firm, and the beginning of her relationship with her longtime boyfriend, Tyler, 26M. Each milestone was a bittersweet reminder of what I was missing. During these years, my own life changed too. 4 years ago, I met David, 46M. He was kind, patient, and understanding of my complicated family situation. We got married 2 years ago, and I became stepmom to his daughter, Darcy, 22F. Darcy and I connected from the start. She was sweet and open-hearted, eager to welcome me into her life. Over time, she became the daughter I had lost when Audrey left. We shared inside jokes, went shopping together, and had long talks over cups of tea. Darcy called me mom and introduced me to her friends as her mother, not her stepmother. Last week, out of the blue, I received a text from Audrey. My heart raced as I opened it, hoping for reconciliation. Instead, what I read left me feeling cold and angry. Audrey was asking for my grandmother's ring, a family heirloom that had been passed down for generations. She said she and Tyler were getting engaged, and she wanted to use it as her engagement ring. The ring in question is incredibly special to me. It belonged to my grandmother, who raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 8. My grandmother was my rock, the person who taught me about strength and resilience. She gave me the ring on her deathbed when I was 25, making me promise to keep it in the family and pass it on to someone who truly deserved it. For years, I had dreamed of giving the ring to Audrey when she got engaged. I imagined the moment, tears, hugs, the sharing of family stories. But that was before our estrangement. 3 years ago, when I realized Audrey might never come back into my life, I made a difficult decision. I gave the ring to Darcy when she got engaged to her longtime boyfriend, Mike. Darcy understood its significance and promised to treasure it. Seeing her face light up when I presented it to her made me feel like I had honored my grandmother's wishes. Now, faced with Audrey's sudden demand, I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to tell her about Darcy, to explain why I can't give her the ring. Another part of me is angry that she thinks she can waltz back into my life and claim a family heirloom after years of silence. I spent hours drafting a response, trying to find the right words. In the end, I simply wrote, "I'm sorry, Audrey, but I no longer have the ring. I hope you and Tyler are happy together." I hit send and waited, my stomach in knots. Audrey's response came quickly and it was explosive. She accused me of being selfish, of punishing her for choosing to live with her father. She demanded to know what happened to the ring, saying it was her birthright. I didn't respond. I couldn't find the words to explain everything, the years of pain, the difficult decisions, the new family I've built. Instead, I turned off my phone and cried, mourning the relationship I once had with my daughter and wondering if there's any hope of salvaging it now. As I sit here writing this, I'm torn between my past and my present, between the daughter I lost and the one I've gained. I love both Audrey and Darcy, but in such different ways. Audrey is my flesh and blood, the baby I carried and raised for 18 years. But Darcy is the one who's been there for me for the past 4 years, who's shown me love and respect when I needed it most. I keep thinking about my grandmother and wondering what she would say if she were here. Would she understand my decision to give the ring to Darcy? Or would she be disappointed that I didn't keep it for Audrey? I'm lost and confused, unsure of how to move forward. How do I navigate this situation without losing both daughters? Is there any way to make Audrey understand my decision without pushing her away forever? And how do I protect my relationship with Darcy, who has been nothing but loving and supportive? I never wanted to be in this position, forced to choose between my children. But here I am, struggling to find a way through this mess. Any advice would be appreciated. Update 1, it's been a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone who offered advice and support. Your words gave me the strength to face this difficult situation. After taking some time to process my emotions, I decided to reach out to Audrey. I sent her a message asking if we could meet in person to talk things through. To my surprise, she agreed. We arranged to meet at a small cafe near her apartment. As I waited for her to arrive, memories flooded back. I remembered bringing Audrey to this same cafe when she was little, sharing hot chocolate and cookies after Saturday morning errands. It seemed like a lifetime ago. When Audrey walked in, my breath caught in my throat. She looked so much like the little girl I remembered, yet so different, a grown woman with a hardness in her eyes that hadn't been there before. She was dressed in a smart business suit, her hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail. I realized with a pang that I didn't even know what she did for a living now. We sat down, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. Then, Audrey broke the silence. "Why didn't you keep the ring for me?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. I took a deep breath and started to explain. I told her about the years of silence, about how I had tried to reach out countless times. I spoke about the pain of watching her life from afar, unable to be a part of it. And then, I told her about Darcy. Audrey's face darkened when I mentioned my stepdaughter. "So you replaced me," she said bitterly. "No," I replied firmly. "Darcy didn't replace you. No one could ever replace you, Audrey. But Darcy came into my life when I was at my lowest. She showed me kindness and love when I needed it most." I went on to explain how I had given Darcy the ring when she got engaged, believing that Audrey might never come back into my life. "I honored my promise to your great-grandmother," I said. "I gave the ring to someone who truly deserved it." Audrey was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "You should have waited. You should have known I'd want it someday." Her words stung, but I stood my ground. "Audrey, you cut me out of your life for 6 years. You didn't return my calls or messages. How was I supposed to know you'd ever want anything from me again?" We talked for hours, bringing up old hurts and misunderstandings. Audrey told me her side of the story, how she had felt torn between her father and me, how Aaron had convinced her that I didn't really love her. She admitted that she had been angry and confused, and that cutting me off had seemed like the easiest solution at the time. She told me about the years we'd been apart. How she'd struggled in college, feeling lost and alone. How she'd almost dropped out in her junior year, overwhelmed by anxiety and depression. She admitted that there had been many times she'd wanted to call me, but pride and fear held her back. I listened, my heart breaking all over again. I wished I could go back in time and do things differently, to shield my daughter from the pain of our divorce and the years of estrangement. But I also knew that I couldn't change the past. As our conversation wound down, Audrey asked to see a picture of the ring on Darcy's hand. With some hesitation, I showed her. She stared at it for a long moment, then handed my phone back. It looks good on her, she said quietly. I hope she appreciates what it means. We parted ways with a tentative plan to meet again. It wasn't the reconciliation I had hoped for, but it was a start. As I watched Audrey walk away, I felt a mix of sadness and hope. We had a long way to go, but at least we were talking again. That night, I called Darcy and told her about my meeting with Audrey. Darcy listened patiently, then said something that brought tears to my eyes. Mom, if Audrey really wants the ring, I'll give it back. Family is more important than any piece of jewelry. I was touched by Darcy's offer, but I told her to keep the ring. It was given with love, and I wouldn't take it back. Besides, I realized, the ring wasn't the real issue here. It was just a symbol of the larger problems between Audrey and me. Over the next few weeks, Audrey and I continued to talk. We met for coffee, exchanged text messages, and slowly began to rebuild our relationship. It was awkward and sometimes painful, but it felt like we were making progress. One day, Audrey asked about my life during the years we've been apart. I told her about meeting David, about our wedding, and about becoming a stepmom to Darcy. I showed her pictures and shared stories. To my surprise, Audrey seemed genuinely interested. I'm glad you found happiness, Mom, she said softly. I'm sorry I wasn't there for any of it. Her words meant more to me than I could express. For the first time in years, I felt like maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other. As I write this update, I'm still unsure of what the future holds. Audrey and I are taking things one day at a time, slowly rebuilding trust and understanding. It's not easy, and there are still moments of tension and hurt. But we're trying, and that's what matters. I'm grateful for this second chance with my daughter, and I'm determined not to waste it. At the same time, I'm committed to nurturing my relationship with Darcy, who has been such a source of joy and support in my life. I don't know if our family will ever be what I once imagined, but I'm hopeful that we can create something new, something that includes all of us, with all our complications and imperfections. It's a work in progress, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like we're moving in the right direction. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I'm still processing everything that's happened. Audrey and I have been meeting regularly, trying to rebuild our relationship. It's been challenging, with many difficult conversations and painful memories brought to light. During one of our meetings, Audrey confessed that her sudden interest in the ring wasn't just about her engagement. She revealed that Aaron, her father, had been pushing her to get the ring. He had told her it was her birthright and that I was wrong to keep it from her. I was angry to learn that Aaron was still trying to manipulate our daughter, but I kept my cool and focused on Audrey. We talked about Aaron's influence on her life, and Audrey admitted that she had started to see some of his manipulative behaviors. She told me about times when he had twisted her words or used guilt to get her to do what he wanted. It was a painful conversation, but I think it was an important step for Audrey in understanding the dynamics of our family. Audrey shared a particularly difficult memory from when she was 19. She had been struggling in college and had called Aaron for advice. Instead of offering support, he had berated her for not trying hard enough, comparing her unfavorably to her stepbrother. Audrey said she had cried herself to sleep that night, wishing she could call me but feeling too ashamed and stubborn to do so. As Audrey opened up more, I began to understand the depth of the pain and confusion she had been carrying all these years. It broke my heart to think of her struggling alone, believing she couldn't turn to either of her parents for support. We also talked about her relationship with Tyler. Audrey admitted that part of her rush to get engaged was because of pressure from Aaron. He had been pushing her to settle down, saying she wasn't getting any younger. I reassured Audrey that she didn't need to rush into marriage just because her father thought she should. As for Darcy, she's been incredibly supportive throughout this process. She even offered to meet Audrey, saying she wanted to get to know her stepsister. Audrey was hesitant at first, but eventually agreed. Their meeting was awkward but civil. Darcy, true to her nature, was kind and welcoming. She brought a small gift for Audrey, a framed photo she had found of Audrey and me from years ago. Audrey was visibly touched by the gesture. Audrey and Darcy didn't become best friends overnight, but they found some common ground talking about their shared experiences of growing up in blended families. They exchanged phone numbers and have been texting occasionally since then. The biggest surprise came last week. Audrey called me, sounding excited. She told me that she and Tyler had been talking, and they had decided they wanted to start their own traditions. Instead of using a family heirloom, they were going to design their own engagement ring together. I realized, Audrey said, that I don't need Grandma's ring to feel connected to our family. I have you, Mom. That's what matters. I couldn't hold back my tears. It felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Audrey and I still have a long way to go in repairing our relationship, but this felt like a significant step forward. As for Darcy, When I told her about Audrey's decision, she hugged me tight and said, "I'm so happy for you, Mom. And for Audrey too. Family is about more than blood or rings. It's about love and choosing to be there for each other." I couldn't agree more. As I write this update, I feel cautiously optimistic about the future. Our family may not look like I once imagined it would, but it's ours, and we're working on making it stronger every day. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I'm happy to report that things have continued to improve. Audrey and I have been steadily rebuilding our relationship, and while we still have our ups and downs, we're in a much better place than we were a year ago. One of the most significant developments happened about a month ago. Audrey called me, sounding upset. She had finally confronted her father, Aaron, about his manipulative behavior. It hadn't gone well. Aaron had blown up, accusing Audrey of betraying him and choosing me over him. He even went so Update 3 continued, far as to threaten to cut her out of his will if she continued to have a relationship with me. Audrey was shaken by the encounter, but she stood her ground. She told Aaron that she was an adult capable of making her own decisions, and that she wanted both of her parents in her life. Aaron didn't take it well and hasn't spoken to her since. I'm proud of Audrey for standing up to her father, but I also know how much it hurt her. We've spent a lot of time talking about it, and I've done my best to support her without badmouthing Aaron. It's a delicate balance, but I think it's important for Audrey to come to her own conclusions about her father's behavior. Audrey shared more details about her confrontation with Aaron. Apparently, he had made some disparaging remarks about me and about Audrey's decision to design her own engagement ring. He accused her of betraying family traditions and suggested that Tyler wasn't good enough for her if he couldn't provide a proper heirloom ring. Audrey said she finally snapped, telling Aaron that he had no right to judge her choices or her relationship. The fallout from this confrontation has been hard on Audrey. She's been seeing a therapist to work through her feelings about her father and our family history. I'm glad she's getting professional help to process everything. On a happier note, Audrey and Tyler's engagement party was last weekend. To my surprise and joy, Audrey asked if Darcy could come. She's family too, Audrey said when she invited her. Darcy was touched by the invitation and gladly accepted. The party was lovely, and it warmed my heart to see Audrey and Darcy chatting and laughing together. They're not best friends, but they're developing a genuine sisterly bond. At one point, I overheard Darcy complimenting Audrey's engagement ring, and Audrey proudly explaining how she and Tyler had designed it together. The ring they created is beautiful, a unique design that incorporates both of their birthstones. Audrey told me that designing it together had been a wonderful experience for her and Tyler. They had spent hours discussing what they wanted the ring to symbolize, and the final product truly reflected their relationship. As for me, I feel like I'm finally able to breathe easier. The weight of the estrangement that I've carried for so long is lifting. I know we still have work to do, but I'm no longer afraid of losing my daughter again. Audrey and I have started a new tradition of having dinner together every Sunday. Sometimes Darcy joins us, sometimes it's just the two of us. We're slowly rebuilding our bond, sharing stories about our lives and making new memories. Last Sunday, Audrey brought over some old photo albums she had found at Aaron's house. We spent hours looking through them, laughing at old hairstyles and reminiscing about family vacations. It was bittersweet, but it felt good to revisit those memories together. I've learned so much through this experience. About forgiveness, about the importance of communication, and about the true meaning of family. It's not always easy, and it's rarely perfect, but it's ours. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Audrey and Tyler's wedding is set for next spring. Audrey has asked both Darcy and me to help her with the planning. It feels surreal to be involved in this part of her life after missing so much, but I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity. As I end this update, I want to thank everyone who has followed our story and offered support. Your kindness and advice have been a source of strength for me throughout this journey. To anyone out there struggling with family estrangement, I want to say, don't give up hope. It's never too late to try to heal old wounds and build new bridges. Our story isn't over. We still have challenges to face and hurts to heal. But we're facing them together now, and that makes all the difference.